In this lab, we're going to explore another part of the big green hand. We're going to look at inferences. Inferences may be a word that's unfamiliar to you. A close connection word is implications. What are the implications of this? What inferences can we draw? Inferences are a broader term, but they are what I call the leaping horse of critical thinking. Because what it enables us to do is we start at one place, we know this, if this is true, then we leap to what else might be true, to what else might be possible, to what else now is improbable. So it's the leaping horse that allows us this creative gesture, this imaginative gesture, to leap into the changed conditions in the future as a result of the condition that we're standing on right now, the place that we're standing. So how does this help us decide if our idea is a good idea? Well, we can take our opportunity statement and we can put it here and we say, if our opportunity is a good idea, then what else is true? Now this invites us to leap into the imaginary space of our opportunity being a good idea. We're implementing that opportunity, or we're beginning to start to organize the resources to implement that opportunity. And what else is going to be now true? And that helps us to imagine. It frames our imagination, but it bounds it in a certain way, but it liberates us to then imagine what else might be true, both what is good that might be true and also what is not so good that might be true. So we're moving out, and we could call this a hypothesis. We could call this imagination something that is a theory. If it's true that this is a good idea, then so-and-so is also true, or such and such is also true. It's also a kind of an informed guess, because we're leaping into unknown territory. And if we don't ever do that, if we just stay stuck with where we are, we lose the power that's possible that comes from imagination and association and intuition that allows us to leave where we are and move into the unknown and the unfamiliar. If our opportunity is a good idea, then what is likely? Again, we're moving into the future and we're looking with a different lens. But we're able, especially if we have a team, we're able, all of us, to see different things that are going to be likely. This helps us work out of what I call, and what Buckminster Fuller called, anticipatory design, where we're actually anticipating the future because we're doing this inferential thinking, these inferences, to move us out to where that becomes much more real for us, much more imaginative, much more exciting, and also helps us realize where are the big holes out there on the terrain as we're moving our idea forward. We can identify vulnerabilities, weaknesses, weak signals that are going to give us more information than if we just stay where we are and don't engage in this disciplined process. This is disciplined of inferential thinking, which is quite imaginative. Usually those two things don't go together. This is a disciplined, imaginative process, and it's very powerful. If our idea, our opportunity is a good idea, then some things are going to be possible that aren't possible now. And that's important to know, to explore that, because some of those might bring us back to help leverage our opportunity in a way that we weren't even imagining. New markets, new clients, new resources, new people of interest, new potential board members. All of this becomes possible. Or we know for sure that something's not possible. If this is a good idea, then there are other things that are not possible. We're going to foreclose opportunities because we realize it's not going to be possible if this turns out to be a good idea. So it could be improbable. It's unlikely. So again, we can choose which of these we want. But if we do this as a group activity, people will come up with very different, diverse, and interesting inferences based on our assumption that we're putting in here, if this opportunity is a good idea for us now. We can also look at inferential thinking, and we can use it to help us shape our predisposition to the future and our group's capacity to anticipate and become more resilient in the future. And what that means is we could here not necessarily put our opportunity there as our opportunity as a good idea, but we could take an event that just happened. If so-and-so event just happened, then what is true? If an event just happened, then what is likely? If an event just happened, then what is possible? And these could be financial events, they could be social events, political events, cultural events, hiring events. The person we wanted to hire accepted the job, then what is now possible? Okay, we do this kind of thinking as children. They have no problem with inferential thinking. In fact, they just run away. Their little white leaping horses are going everywhere, and it can be exhausting at times for adults. However, we lose that, whether we get it beaten out of us at school or it's not appreciated because we're off daydreaming. But most of the things we do in daydreaming are inferential thinking exercises. If this is true, then that's true. Well, if that's possible, then this is okay. And we move on and on. So it's a variation of associational thinking, but it's much more disciplined than that. And it's a practice. We can take statistics. If we just get a new government report on the census, or this week I read something where there were complaints that this city where I live was spending $30,000 to provide wraparound care per year for homeless people. And as it turned out, we're spending $81,000 a year to keep people incarcerated in state prison. Okay, if it's true that we spent $30,000 for wraparound for homeless people, and we spent $81,000 a year for state prison incarceration, then what else is true? Then what else is likely? Then what else is possible? So we can take a single statistic or two or three statistics and put them together and go, so what? What else is true? What else is likely? What else is probable? What's improbable? We're living into the future in a disciplined way. And if we're not tapping into the resources of our people to let them and to set them up and to expect them and to give them permission and also to reinforce their inferential thinking, we're losing so much of what value they could bring to the table to keep us from making errors and to open up doors and windows of possibility. So this way of working is very much what I call a possibility generator. And if people are disengaged at work, which Gallup says more than 70% of the US workforce is disengaged at work, this becomes a possibility generator to develop new ideas, new ways of seeing things, and new implications so that we're less vulnerable in the future, less vulnerable to the diverse forces, and more able to bring our work forward together.